We need to get ready for some big changes in the weather pattern ahead, especially as we get closer to the Thanksgiving holiday time frame, and we'll be outlining that right here on this video. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below by hitting the subscribe button. It's absolutely free to do, and you get detailed weather breakdowns across North America and the tropics on this channel. Also, be sure to press the thumbs up button. It helps out more than you know. So getting into the weather forecast here, over the past 24 hours, we've had some pretty heavy rains across the southeastern United States. In particular is Florida, down toward the Miami Beach region, Daytona Beach. We saw over 4 inches worth of rain across those areas just over the past day or so, and we're going to be adding to those totals in a big way as we go through the day today. Notice we got the yellows, oranges, and the reds showing up down here, showing some moderate to pockets of heavy rain for south central Florida over the Miami region up through Daytona Beach as we go in towards today and into tonight, and with some lingering showers into Friday morning, but most of this will be pushing off the southeast coast as we go in toward Friday afternoon and into Friday night. Overall, additional rainfall accumulation on top of what we've already seen across the southeast and in particular Florida. Areas that have seen already 4 inches are going to see another 5 inches of rain, so those totals could be pushing towards double digits down toward the Miami area as we go into this weekend, with some areas perhaps up to a foot of rain. So definitely a lot of rain down across southern Florida through the weekend. And then as we go into the weekend, we got a very strong low pressure system just off the coast of Cape Cod in Massachusetts. We have a 974 millibar low pressure system here. It doesn't have a lot of cold air to work with, but we do have some heavier rains near the immediate New England coastline from Maine down through portions of coastal Massachusetts, including Cape Cod, and even Rhode Island, seeing some heavier rains from this as it tightly gets wound up with some backwash moisture this weekend. A little narrow stripe of snow perhaps up toward the Caribou region and towards Maine and into portions of eastern Canada as we go into this upcoming weekend. Just again, not a lot of cold air with this system to support snowfall. But what is going to be supported with this system is the strong winds. The 974 millibar low will definitely bring you some strong winds out of the northwest across Cape Cod. We could be seeing easily wind gusts over 50 miles per hour this weekend for coastal New England. So definitely batten down the hatches if you live into these areas, and any loose objects outside, make sure to bring them in because it will be very windy for our coastal New England communities this weekend. Then as we go into the weekend for eastern Canada across Nova Scotia, we've been talking about this the past couple of days. On Saturday, November 18th, we're going to have a little bit more of the onshore flow with this system. The eastern side of this low pressure system will be forcing the water inland towards Nova Scotia. So if you live on the coastline there, we could easily be seeing double-digit foot waves that could be moving in with some storm surge for the Saturday time frame, and then that will move up with onshore flow into Newfoundland as we go into Sunday on November 19th. So make sure if you live in eastern Canada or even coastal New England to be mindful of the strong winds and the heavier waves out there as we go into this weekend. Overall, though, our temperatures are looking A-okay again today. Another very warm day across the mainland United States. Temperatures will be surging back well above normal, 60s and 70s to go around there. You do notice there is a cold front up here across the northern plains, and behind that, that's where we have the true Arctic air with temperatures back into the teens and 20s up into southern Canada there. That's with the deeper snowpack as well up across those regions today. And then as we go into Friday, notice the cold front starts to dip down a little bit further to the south and east. Behind that, we'll have a little bit of reality setting in on Friday. Temperatures that are in the 60s today across the Midwest will fall into the 40s as we go into tomorrow on Friday. And then notice ahead of the cold front again, 60s and 70s from portions of New England and the Northeast, all the way down through the mid-Atlantic, the Southeast, and even the the southern United States there on Friday. So again, enjoy the warm weather while it lasts, because we know it is getting closer towards winter. As we go into this weekend, Saturday into Sunday, we're talking here temperatures into the 40s and 50s, fairly seasonable high temperatures for both days this weekend. So again, another opportunity to get outdoors and enjoy it, because things are going to be turning active as we go late into the weekend, and especially through Thanksgiving week itself. Another significant storm system will be emerging across the western United States later in the weekend, particularly on Sunday, and then that will swing across the deep south and the lower Mississippi Valley as we go into early next week on Monday into Tuesday. So let's first look at late in the weekend. This is Sunday, November 19th. This is your precipitation map. You do see some rainfall across Kansas, down through Oklahoma and Texas. Most of this will be sub-severe, so we're going to see just some heavier downpours and some garden variety type thunderstorms out there. There could be an isolated strong to severe storm, especially near the Red River here, where the instability down towards southern Oklahoma and North Texas could be a little bit higher. I'm not really banking on that further north into Kansas, because the instability will not really have an opportunity to lift that far north. Then behind it, we got the cold air on the backside of the system with some moisture. The Rockies, the ski resorts out here, loving the snowfall for this early season into the middle of November. That is for sure. Looking at our rainfall accumulation this weekend, you can see decent rains from Kansas down into Oklahoma, far north Texas, and that leads into Arkansas as well, with a couple inches of rain on the way for some of these areas. And then looking at the snowfall for the season across the United States, this is since September 30th of 2023, and you do see the Rockies have gotten off to a very quick start with a couple feet of snow out there already to date. And we will be adding on at least a few inches to that total of the year so far as we go into Sunday across the Rockies from Idaho down through portions of the Salt Lake City area there in toward Utah, getting through Wyoming, getting through portions of Colorado, and even perhaps down into Arizona and New Mexico in those higher elevations as well, starting to see some snowfall later this weekend. Then as we go into early next week, we have some of Gulf of Mexico moisture starting to lift up to the north. We have some instability down here into portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, and to some extent western Georgia as well on Monday. And then that lifts up into portions of the Carolinas and toward the Delmarva region as we go into Tuesday with some of that instability. So with the instability and moisture in play, you will get some thunderstorms, and heavy rainfall will be the primary risk for this storm system across the Dixie Alley region and into the deep south as we go Monday into Monday night. And then that system quickly starts to drive its way up to the north and east Tuesday into Tuesday night with some warm rains and also some thunderstorm activity. Some severe weather possible across portions of the East Coast as we go in Tuesday into Tuesday night. Notice up into Canada, Ontario, Quebec, we're going to be seeing cold enough air where the moisture will be meeting up there. That's where we're going to be seeing some heavier snows, and it will be snowing quite a bit across Ontario and into Quebec as we go through Tuesday night. And some of this snow could even be as far south as northern Michigan and the UP of Michigan as we go Tuesday into Tuesday night and even into Wednesday. Here's our severe weather potential. Remains unchanged. The thinking remains the same as yesterday, with the possibility of severe weather there from the Shreveport region toward Jackson, Mississippi, Atlanta, and the Raleigh, North Carolina region. To the left of this black line, that is on Monday severe weather potential, and to the right of that up through the Carolinas, eastern Georgia, and into Virginia, that will be on Tuesday. So definitely seeing the potential for some severe weather. All modes of severe weather would be in play here, with damaging winds and large hail the main risk. Then looking at the rainfall accumulation, probably a bigger risk than anything else with this system will be the widespread scope of heavy rain from the mid-Atlantic down across portions of the Ohio Valley and the southeast. There will be areas that see some pretty heavy rains across portions of Alabama and North Georgia near the Atlanta region. We could be picking up 1 to 3 inches of rain just Monday through Wednesday early next week. And this could be causing some flooding concerns down here across portions of the Dixie Alley region and the Gulf Coast from Louisiana up there towards Mississippi, Alabama, and northwest Florida. Even though we do have the drought, we have a lot of heavy rain on the way, and the runoff will be persistent across this region, especially if you get a lot of rain. So make sure to be watching out for flooded roadways. Then on the cold side, we mentioned Ontario and Quebec. We could be seeing several inches of snowfall accumulation up here. Northern Michigan, the UP of Michigan, maybe an inch or two for those areas. But the heaviest snows will be across the border there into Canada, where we could be picking up at least 4 to 8 inches or more of snow as we go further up to the north there early to midweek. And then on the backside of the system, yes, our above average temperatures will be coming to a screeching halt as we go in towards Thanksgiving week. We got the cold northwesterly winds on the backside of that low pressure system, because remember, a low pressure system moves, the air around it moves counterclockwise. So that does mean that our temperatures will be crashing as the colder air from Canada drops down into the United States from northwest to southeast. And looking at the Climate Prediction Center's 6 to 10 day temperature outlook through next week, and this includes Thanksgiving, a big flipping the script here from our weather pattern we're seeing this week to the weather we're seeing next week, with below normal temperatures now favored for the eastern 2/3 and above normal for the western third as we go toward the west coast for Thanksgiving week. Previewing Thanksgiving Day, here are your high temperatures. It looks to be colder to the north there. It'll be struggle to get above the 30-degree mark across portions of the northern plains, the upper Midwest, or the Ohio Valley. Definitely very cold, even into coastal portions of New England as we go into Thanksgiving Day. Further to the south towards Texas and the Gulf Coast and the immediate southeast, temperatures will still be below normal into the 50s and 60s, so much cooler for Thanksgiving. And when you factor in the wind, remember, the backside of the storm system will have some wind with it on Thursday on Thanksgiving, and this will be knocking down our wind chills into the teens, even single digits in some areas, as we go across the northern tier of the United States. And Thanksgiving Day itself for precipitation, even though we're seeing the colder air, it does look to be very dry across portions of the United States and southern Canada. There could be some snow lingering up there in Ontario and Quebec from that snowstorm later in towards next week, and then a little bit of a clipper system or Pacific hybrid type system that moves into the Pacific Northwest across Idaho into Montana and Wyoming as we go into Thanksgiving. That will just be a nuisance across those regions. And then as we go into Friday morning, the day after Thanksgiving, this is where the freezing line will be. It'll be all the way south toward Amarillo there into Texas, near the Red River there, all the way south toward the Dixie Alley and towards North Carolina and northern South Carolina. So that's as far south as the freezing line gets by Friday morning. And looking at late November, there are signs starting to come together. The pieces to the puzzle are coming together. You got the cold air in place toward late November. The snow line will be dropping just a little bit further to the south as we go into that final week there in November. And you can see we're going to get these Clipper or Pacific hybrid storm systems. And what I mean by that is we're going to have northwesterly flow, and that's usually where you get Clipper systems. If you've ever heard of the Alberta Clipper, Alberta, Canada, a lot of these Clipper systems come down from there, from the northwest, and dive southeast. But a Pacific hybrid and Clipper is basically where you have Pacific moisture coming off the Pacific Ocean with northwesterly flow, and that produces more snow to the north of the track of that system and more rain and thunderstorm activity further to the south, and even some colder rains at times too, just depending on those temperatures. So we'll be watching that as we go into late November, but get ready, folks, because the weather is changing in a big way over the next several days. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you do like these detailed weather breakdowns across North America and the tropics. It's absolutely free to do. Give the video a thumbs up if you do like today's weather forecast and today's content, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their Thursday out there.